Hi, I'm Corey Anderson. This is my reflection on the post lab of number five. Post lab number five. Now, the complete experiment went well for me. Didn't have too many issues when it came to it, but when I was preparing for everything, I made sure to have all the equipment that I needed, all the right solutions, actual stuff that I had to measure to mix everything to make the lab run smoother. I made sure that there was no distractions. I had my laptop up, which had the instructions for the lab. I had the SDS, making sure that I was following that, making sure I was following the solutions with that, and everything ran pretty smoothly. I made sure that I had no distractions. My dogs were away. My child was asleep, so I was able to move smoothly. I had my wife helping me out with everything, so it ran pretty smoothly. Just the time that took to make the iron 2 solution was took the longest was because you're sitting there simmering and letting the vinegar boil off from when it was everything else. But other than that, everything ran smoothly. Now, for the actual lab itself, I thought my results came pretty quickly. I made sure to write down all of the actual measurements. For the part one, I had the weight boat that measured in at 2.17 grams, and then I weighed in the steel wool to 1.01 grams, and then went in and actually performed the actual experiment for that part. It took a total of 35 minutes to boil off the actual vinegar from the solution to get down to I ended up getting about 75 mLs instead of the 50 for the solution, because I actually ran out of water. I didn't want to pour it in there and create more of an issue, but ended up working out pretty well. Now, for the step one of everything, the result of the actual lab itself was, of course, to create the iron 2 acetate, which was from combining the vinegar and the steel wool and then boiling the solution until it created the actual iron 2 acetate. I did purchase a new scale, so I was actually able to read more in depth and actually be able to become more accurate. So I did have the 0.01 gram scales. I weighed all the required material and made sure it was with the accurate scale, making sure with what I was weighing. Now, from after boiling the solution and everything else, and then draining the solution, it ended up becoming like a tannish color solution. And then while that was boiling, I started on the second part and mixed together the peroxide and the cream of tartar solution. Mixed that all together, got everything. Once everything was together, I then had my wife sit down with me. She was telling out the times of every 10 seconds so that when I would pour in more solution, and then until it came up to the final product, which still ended up becoming actually pretty difficult just because I didn't have the 15 mLs measured out in increments. So when pouring it in, it was just a rough guesstimate, but it ended up still becoming the final product of the iron 3 acetate. So when I did mix everything together, though, the results that I got were, when I first started mixing it, the solution went from a tan color to like a yellowish orangish color, but it was also having a exothermic reaction. It was creating heat. It was fizzing when I was mixing the solutions together, and then when I added enough of the solution, it ended up the exothermic reaction had actually subsided. The results went, when I initially started, it was at 80 degrees. The final result that I got was 145 degrees Fahrenheit. But then the end solution actually was more of a darker brown solution, which I'll show you in the pictures then. That'll be attached to the file as well. Now, when it comes to the whole overall part of the lab, when I was reaching the objectives, I was making sure, following each and every single thing, writing down the exact, making sure that all the reactions were what's supposed to be happening, following everything as closely as possible to make sure that I was getting the proper solution at the end of the lab itself. I do suggest having someone to help you because there was a lot of steps in it. Like I said, reading the times, writing down the results, stirring everything, pouring in the solution in. So it definitely needed at least 2 people. I'd say I would probably put at least 3 people in there just because of writing everything down, calling out the time, stirring everything, watching the thermometer. It was just a lot to take in, or just video record the whole thing so you can see exactly what happens, and then you can go back and look over it. But overall, I thought the results went well. I didn't have any issues, didn't have any accidents. Everything worked out well. So I look forward to the next lab. Thank you very much.